times in the past, certainly doing it again is not, is certainly something we can do, yeah.
So, and that is, I mean, if we could do a more effective larvicide program within that wildlife preserve area on the south end of the lake, including the dike system, that would really affect what we do or what we would have to do for an adulticide program. I mean, if we can control these to keep them down to 2 larvae per dip throughout the season, we would almost minimize our adulticide program. But right now, when we do find them, we have to make a phone call to FWP, tell them this is what we found, this is where it's at, do we have permission to go ahead and apply the product? They won't necessarily get back to us that same day, it might be the next day, or it could be a day later. So then that delays how soon you get the product on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of things need to be addressed now.
Right.
Versus in a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, it's helped, because in the past, as many of you remember, is that, I mean, the flood irrigation that used to go on in the area harbored a lot of mosquitoes. Now that most of that's going to be converted over to sprinkler irrigation, I mean, that's helped decrease that amount of standing water that we used to have. So more of that is you start looking at where is that at, and it's concentrated back into that south end of the lake.
Any more questions, Trudy?
Just a follow-up comment, a couple of them, I guess. I understand mosquitoes fly 1 to 3 miles.
There's, with some of them, some stronger fires, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles, but most of them, yeah.
Which puts the end of the lake right in the distance that they could fly, and if FWP continues to be an issue, is trying to control mosquitoes at the adult stage something that's realistic with 1 or 2 trucks without being able to control the larva?
If you don't have any of that, I mean, you make a dent in it, but it's not going to be the control program that people want, of having the ability to go out and enjoy evening type activities.
And it's my understanding that while bats eat mosquitoes and some other things, they're not actually eating them for our benefit, and it's not the only thing in our diet, and you're really not going to see a decrease if you have bat houses necessarily.
Well,
that's my understanding through the entomologist and the mosquito guy.
Yep. I mean, definitely they help. Sometimes you wonder, how much benefit are they to the area? If we didn't have them, would we have it worse? So it kind of that.
But there's not a way to measure that. You can only speculate. So
that's right.
They're not going to say, oh, we see all these mosquitoes around these people's houses, let's do them a favor and eat as many as we can. So
right. No,
there's other things in their diet because they're so small. So.
Yeah. That's right. But yeah, I mean, they definitely help out, but you're right. They're not a solve the problem totally, but they do have a little impact in it.
Thank you.
And the key, I think, that Trudy maybe is getting at, correct me if I'm wrong, is diversification. Mm-hmm. One size doesn't fit all for the entire district, and also one solution isn't going to solve the entire problem.
No, but if we can put more emphasis on one part,
yes,
that would definitely
that's
have
the best part.
Yeah.
The part that's causing the problem.
Yeah.
They're the biggest problem.
And that's been a problem since I got on the board, and like you said, those meetings, it was not an easy thing to get through to people who don't have to experience the negativity of all the mosquitoes, to get past that, yeah, but I want to protect the fish. So yeah, Tom Carlson was at those meetings, John Semple was at those meetings. They got heated, they were long, but that doesn't mean we don't continue, and of course we have. So yeah, if you want to continue that at any time, just let us know, because we're still on board, and we need to address that as best we can. And good to know about 2017, because that's when we have a little bit more teeth.
Right.
Yeah.
But the main thing is as we know how government works, we have, 2014 is either need to have a new plan in place that can be, you know, at the sunset of the 2017 one, we have something
Ready to
in place,
go.
ready to go. Instead of taking that next year, which they basically may shut us down and say, well, because our plan isn't in, or we don't have the contract signed, we won't be able to do anything. So, end of 2016, first part of 2017, I would like to have something more definite between DOR, FWP, and the district and the county to know what direction we're headed in.
Yeah, which means you need more board members. Yeah.
When does the mosquito board meet?
Well, in the past, I say just because of the boards kind of been back and forth on stuff, they've met about 4 times a year. And basically, it's been March and April, and then usually met June, and then we had to have another meeting in the summer, they would, otherwise it was just phone calls, and then it was after the end of the season, to kind of say, okay, you know, what do we need to do? And I mentioned before, I think he said, we just due to other board members being on 20+ years, and finally said, you know what, somebody else can come in to do this. We've had 3 slots open, and we've advertised, and as a lot of boards are finding, it's very difficult to get people to step forward and serve on the boards. And this one being particularly, I mean, I've had some other folks with interest, but they lived outside the district. He said, based upon how the district is built and what the legislation says, you have to have members from within the district.
Yeah, so you're limited on who you can recruit to.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone here lives in town, in the district, and you're looking for something to do, we have an opening for you.
Is it possible you could let us know when you're gonna have the meetings, and maybe, I mean, you never know if you have that out there, because I don't know of anyone that knew offhand when they met, except irregularly, so it would be nice to be able to try to at least post it on when they were gonna meet.
Is it posted on the website?
It hasn't been, but that would be one avenue to use.
And you're looking for 3 new members?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'm going to give you a list here. I'm going to catch up to you when you're gone. You want to go through it now?
Sure, Franklin.
It just, I kind of glanced through them. Okay, I guess you got 5. One at the top. Both taxpayers in this county pay for mosquito control through a tax levy. How much did our county acquire in dollars for mosquito control in 2013? What are you doing with those allotted unused funds? And what did you say was brought in? I guess that's what she's wanting to know there.
It's about 16,000 is what's brought in.
I'll just put this down. She called me this morning if I had any answers. Okay, next, one of those unused funds, you just keep those for what's needed for the next year for chemical and so on, don't you?
Well, that's what we were trying to do, but in the past, our mosquito department or district was treated like a normal department and more or less told us that we could not carry those funds over. And yet, in researching that more, finding out as a district, those funds need to stay in the district funds. And that was not the case. So last year, we had some leftover funds, and I said, hey, I want to request those to be put into the, I don't know what you call it, the cash fund or something that says we want to be able to come back to utilize these. And they should be there. That's, I guess, is a question I have.
Answer on where it can be saved for.
I did verify that with Debbie, by the way.
Okay.
And you do have those. She did start that and agreed emphatically that those dollars should never have been removed because it's a special district. People agreed to pay that money for mosquito and it should never have been removed to the general fund. So I don't know that we go back years, but yeah, Debbie has corrected that practice.
Okay.
She says, were any areas sprayed this year? Well, I have that information for what you just said, so.
Yeah, we've hit the entire district multiple times. So.
And If so, which areas were sprayed? How many times were those areas sprayed? Just, multiple times, I guess, or what would you say for bigger, for me for the answer, that's all I care.
I'd say 4 or 5 times.
Okay, 4 or 5 times. Have any of you or any other county workers had their lots or land sprayed? How often?
Mine doesn't get sprayed.
So.
I
say
I don't
that's
think
a-
she's been to my house.
I have been to your house, by your house.
But,
Wait, I want you to just park out here for 10 minutes.
I do want to interject though seriously. Any county employees would be treated exactly as any other citizens by this district and by you specifically. You certainly would not stop at an employee's house and spray double. Everyone is treated equitably. That's correct, yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
yeah, that's.
I want that on the record.
Same as- Right.
Sorry for being smart, Alec.
It says, have any of you or other county personnel had access to county spraying equipment or the pesticides used for mosquito control? Did those persons pay a fee, or how much? Nobody, you don't just sell out or sell to the public and
I
spray
can't,
like
the
that.
chemical, the way it's listed is for commercial or governmental use only. If I sell to a private individual, I'm going against my license and I could be fined and lose my license.
And that simply does not happen, is that correct? Thanks.
Yeah, it's,
Well, I didn't think so,
And-
either. I'm just answering.
right,
What she had, you know.
and nobody else has use of the mosquito truck other than Steve or myself. I mean, those are,
Yeah, it's under lock and key.
And that's the other reason we need storage, because you've got to be able to keep it under lock and key.
Why wasn't the fogging equipment in working condition when early on those who monitor mosquito numbers were aware of a much greater than normal mosquito count was concluded? I guess mainly wants to know why the truck, or why the fogging equipment was in working condition when early on. Reports where there's gonna be a lot of mosquitoes.
we were, it's just sometimes things come up that we don't
They were
anticipate.
unforeseen,
I
It's
mean,
just
like-
wear and tear.
Yeah, how do you know,
unforeseen repairs or
Yeah.
breakdowns, I guess you'd say.
well, one was a gasket on a fuel pump that, I mean, I don't know when that's gonna go down.
Mhm.
And we had to order that in. It wasn't one locally, so you have to wait till that comes in.
What's the best answer to give? Just unforeseen problem.
I would just say, or normal,
Yeah, it's
normal
just
wear and
normal.
tear, that something is just,
You know, if you farm, you're gonna have stuff break down when you're using it, so it's just normal wear and tear.
Okay, good, well,
and the other thing I guess too is, I had a phone call, a message on my phone, that there's some rumor out there somewhere that says that, the district has no money, or the county has no money, or the money's being used to buy cop cars, or the money's being used to buy road equipment. And I guess somehow that has to be squelched, is that, I mean, we've been out spraying, we've been out doing things. Due to the wind conditions, there's a lot of times, our patterns are not gonna be the same thing. You're not gonna go down every street the same way, because if the wind's blowing a different direction, you have to adjust and spray according to the wind. So, I mean, that's what we look at is, we've been out, we've been trying, and it's just, I mean, it's a year where mosquitoes are bad all over. So, I mean, we have funding in the district, it's just a matter of, I guess I always look at it the same thing as you guys talk about being fiscally responsible, is that, yes, we have it and we're trying to get out, but there's certain times we can spray, I can't go out during the day. And so we're working through this, but, I mean, we're trying to do the best we can.
And the rumor mill is becoming, one, out of control, two, utterly and completely salacious and false. But what it does is it further divides our community, and they've really got to stop. But yeah, we'll put it in the minutes about that, and try and get the facts out that way. Hopefully people will see it on YouTube, read it in the minutes of the paper. And also Franklin, if you could share that information with whomever called, that would help as well. And we will need a copy of those questions since they were read in the minutes. So Ann could take a copy and get you the original back. So,
Could I make a suggestion?
yes,
I would take those minutes that Franklin's got there and do an article, have Trudy do an article in the paper and answer each one right in the paper instead of being right. And put them in the minutes is fine, but to hit just that, I think would be important.
that's a great idea. Tim?
Madam Chair, just a financial side of the question here. Does the district have a CIP fund created, and if so, how much is in that CIP fund?
I guess, is that classified as our 940s, or?
Yes and no. Your 940 is your capital fund, and your capital improvement fund is your CIP. They're two different. The statute governing the two is different. You know, the questions of how much money is in such and such account seems like it is a very simple question. The answer with government accounting is not so simple. There are a variety of different funds. There's a variety of different funding sources. Different money has to go to different things, so it's not part of the same. So we can get you copies of the reports, but I think maybe putting Virginia on the spot as far as how much is in there today versus, you know, and for which accounts, I think is maybe going a little bit far on a ledge. Yes.
In the past, we've not been able to have CIPs.
Because your money was erroneously removed that should have remained in the district.
That, and previous boards, I mean, basically we're told CIPs were not, we were not eligible for CIPs.
Oh.
So that's when I asked you if that's a 940 fund or what. Because yes, some of the unused funds we had from previous year, that's kind of how we could say, I tried to make sure I had to keep them, was put it in the 940 line item.
Yes.
But as far as a true CIP, no, we do not have one.
And I don't know if being a special district has something on that, but we'll look into the CIP. But yes, you are more than legally able to have a 940, which is a capital.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, that
So
helps.
a long way around, the answer is no, we don't have a CIP fund in that.
Nobody capital fund, yes.
Thank you.
So, anything else for Virginia and Steve, other than a huge thank you for the work you guys are doing? Elaine, anything from you?
Nope.
Franklin?
No. I have it.
Okay.
Anything more from you guys?
I think so.
All right.
We'll just appreciate, I guess, the time that you allowed us to come in and try to help explain and show as a district that we are working in.
Absolutely. You know what would really be a good idea is if we could get a copy of this map. I know that if people want to see it, they can probably come to the extension office, right?
Mhm.
Can we get a copy for here in the courtroom and maybe put it in the hallway downstairs or in the commissioner's office so that people can come in here as well?
So where would be a good place to go get a color copy this size?
Ask Nicole, because can you guys do colored copies of
What
maps or
kind
the
Yes,
water?
yes. Can they do that?
Clerk
Not
or
that I'm
recorder?
aware of. I mean, they have a plotter that they do things from the computer, but to actually take this in and have a copy,
Oh.
that's why I run into problems as far as where to go get things.
Bring it in, we'll see if we can make it work through that. We copy it.
And if not, we can have Nicole just print off a large map and then draw the lines ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, I could just pop over and copy your lines onto another map and then laminate it and
Yeah,
we'll have
can
another
go
map.
through that.
Yeah,
The legal boundaries, make sure we're on the right section lines and stuff.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Oops. Get rid of some of our marks up here.
Yeah. So,
All
I guess, yeah,
right.
if there's any other questions, I mean, you guys welcome to call us and we always have like the chemical labels on hand if we need it.
Oh, I should ask a quick question. Do you use Malathion anymore?
No, we do not. Basically because as a district, that's more of a liability to us. Malathion we used to use in the past, but the form that we use for mosquito districts called Fenthion. How do you put, we bought a lot of paint jobs for cars. And so I can't afford to do that.
Mhm.
So that's why we're using these other products, because they are not so toxic to other things such as peeling paint off cars.
Because it used to be, see, malathion, that was everything's for malathion, apple
Right.
tree, fruit trees,
Right.
mosquitoes.
But
and
because it's an organophosphate, there's also a lot of resistance to that now, to where it's almost ineffective.
Oh.
You
So-
say that word around some people and they just freak out now.
Yeah, that's true, Elaine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, okay. I'm just curious on that.
All right. Well, thank you both very much. Your efforts are
Thank you, John.
truly appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey Elaine, I emailed you a memo for the department heads regarding the budget. Would you give that a quick read and offer any edits? I would like to send that to the department heads during the budget season, but I think it should come from the full commission.
Want me to look at it today, you mean, or?
When you get a chance, today in the car maybe, and then just shoot me an email or a text or something.
Okay.
And just let me know if it's fine, or if you'd like edits, and I'll share those via email with Franklin as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
I can do that.
All right. So with that, I think that's all we needed to cover today. Is there anything, Elaine, that you want to add?
You know, if somebody wants to come drive me to Salt Lake.
Oh, I'd love to. One thing I do have to correct is my own misunderstanding from Monday. The budget, it actually went down. It did not increase from last year. The valuation, it decreased by about $112,000 from last year. And our floating mills are about 2.07 less than last year. So we will be addressing that. With the way Debbie's done the budget, we could actually be done tomorrow. But department heads are gonna have to perhaps tighten their belts a little bit. So just wanted you guys to know that budget went down, valuation went down, so I apologize for my mistake on Monday. Anything?
Would you repeat that again for me, those numbers?
They're guesstimates or estimates. I don't have the math with me. If you want the exacts, I can get those to you, but it's about 112,000 in valuation.
They went down.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they said it went up, excuse me.
I thought so too, and they did. And I jumped on that as well, but no, they actually went down. Yeah, so, thought you guys should know, since I misstated that also on Monday. So anything more, Elaine or Franklin, for the good of the order? We do have public comment from Tim.
Madam Chair, I just would like to ask respectfully for clarification. Just about consistently, we continually hear about the quote-unquote rumor mill.
Yes.
And I'm sure that we have that situation in all small communities, but I'd like to maybe ask you to expand on just exactly what you're talking about there, if you would. Thank you,
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
There's a variety of subjects that have been discussed specifically in these commission meetings. And the very next day, the stories of what we discussed are outlandishly different than the actual discussions. We receive emails or phone calls from people who have heard, like Virginia said, well, the reason there's no mosquitoing being done is because the county's out of money. Where the heck did that come from? One, there is spraying being done. Two, the county's not out of money. This is not a poor county. This is a fiscally responsible and frugal county. Vast difference between
And I guess
the two.
that's why I'm asking where this is coming from, because I haven't heard it. And so I'm just kind of curious where this is coming from.
I don't know where it's coming from. I certainly
I
have
think
my
we wish we
guesses.
do too.
Right, we wish we had proof as to where it was coming from, so we could address it head on. But the best we can do in these meetings is address it this way head on. And I would like to say shame on those people who hear one thing and twist it into another for their own gain. And yeah, they are outlandish, they're making people angry. And I would like to suggest that anyone who hears these rumors do what they can to find out what the facts are, because they're being absolutely misled. We had 8 people come to a community meeting here just a couple weeks ago. 3 of them approached this table at the end of the meeting and said, "We were not told the truth before coming here. We now have the facts and we've now changed our minds." So we need to hear more and more of that, because they were absolutely victims of this vicious and untrue rumor mill.
And again, that's, Madam Chair, that's why I asked the question, because it's pretty volatile and it's driving the wedge in the public trust further, and I'm just wondering where it's, where it's coming from, and that's why I asked the question. And it's just unfair to just throw general accusations out there which drive rumor mills.
It is absolutely unfair. It is absolutely unbecoming. So, any other public comment? Yes?
Yeah, I'd like to know, being we're not allowed to have any reserve deputies, from the time it takes a policeman from here to Three Forks, or to Towson, or to Winston, or to the Blinken Light, the reserve deputies were already in their car, but they gotta come from Raidersburg, Towson, wherever they live, to get to their car and then go back to the scene. I would like to know how Mr. Wynn would like somebody shooting at him all the time and thinking this is great guns to shut down the reserve program.
Dwayne, nobody has shut down the reserve program.
What did we hear?
Let me finish. You asked a question. Nobody has shut down the reserve program, I hope. That did not need to happen. That does not need to happen, period. Other
Just trying to
counties,
follow the law.
that's exactly right. Other counties have reserve programs even today. And those reserve programs are conducted under MCA. Those are volunteers. They are highly appreciated volunteers. And when there's an opening in a given sheriff's department, those reserve deputies are first in line for those jobs if the way that they work with the deputies is positive and good for the community. So it is a very crucial tool to a lot of well-functioning sheriff's departments.
You're running a circle.
Okay. Yes, Tim?
Just a quick follow-up on that. Has the commission and/or the city been in discussion on our situation with the Fall Fest coming up and the high dependency on our reserve system for security on that? Do we have an alternative in place, or have been talked about in the event that we don't have a reserve force available to
That's
cover that?
not an issue for the city or the county. Fall Fest has purchased the services of reserve deputies for the last couple of years. We are also, Fall Fest, talking about purchasing private security, but that is not something the city or the county provides. It is Fall Fest that pays for it.
Okay, well, it's part of the county in the past.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Brenda?
Can you provide me with A11 where the county has been reimbursed by the Fall Fest on that matter?
I can provide you with a check that was submitted for payment to your department that was never cashed.
To who?
It
What
was,
was the question?
the question was, could we provide an A101 that Brenda was, or the county was reinstated for reserve deputies? And my answer was that there was a check written by Fall Fest last year that was submitted to the county, to the sheriff's department specifically, and never cashed.
Can you also
So-
provide me with a contract between the Fall Fest and the sheriff's office in regards to that?
No, it was a verbal contract between you and one of our volunteers, and I don't recall who that was, but they did say that they spoke to you.
I don't do verbal contracts. I'll just put that on the record.
That's fine. I don't think we need a back and forth, but certainly I can get you any documentation from our end. The bottom line is Fall Fest purchases our own security. We have for many years now. And with that, any other public comment? All right, meeting's adjourned. Thanks, guys. Elaine, have a good, safe trip, and please wish Kristen all the support
I will.
and
There's the
good
doctor
thoughts.
as we speak.
All right, will you
now.
hit the road, Jack?
And evidently, I don't